GuidedTrack is a great new tool that makes it extremely easy for you to create your own apps that can be used by anyone. In this video, I'll show you how to get started. When you first sign in, you'll see a bunch of templates to help you quickly get started with whatever program you want to create. You can instantly create a contact form, an experiment, a lesson, a survey, or one of many other options. You can also create a blank program to start building from scratch. We'll be choosing that one to see how the very basics of GuidedTrack work. You'll need to enter a name for your program. This can be changed later, so feel free to choose a temporary name for now. We're now at the GuidedTrack code editor. There isn't anything here yet, since we didn't choose a starting template, but we can start adding code to the program by using the toolbar on the left here. For starters, let's add some text. Let's just get rid of the default text and write, "Welcome to my program." The box below shows a preview of the code that will be added to the whole program. As you can see, adding text to your program is as simple as just writing it in the code. If we make the word program bold, it adds asterisks around it in the code, and inserting it adds it to the program. We can now use the split view to see what the code actually does on the right here. And it's indeed the text that we wrote, including the bold word. Let's also add a header to the top of the page. Programs are rendered line by line, starting at the top, so we'll want the header to go before our current text. For this, we'll need to move the cursor to where we want the new code to go. Headers are also added with the text tool. Let's just write "Hello World," and this time let's enable the header setting. Now the code is no longer just simple text, but an asterisk, followed by header, followed by a colon, and then the text that we wrote. We call this a header keyword, and pretty much all building blocks of GuidedTrack use this format. Adding it to the code updates our preview on the right, and indeed shows the header. Now let's actually add some functionality to our program. We can ask users questions with the question tool. There are lots of different question types, but let's just ask the user for their name with a simple text question. The question keyword is really similar to the header keyword. It's just an asterisk, followed by question, followed by a colon, and then the question text. Now in our program preview, we can see the question we wrote, a text box since we chose the text question type, and a submit button. If we type anything here and click submit, we'll see nothing since there is no code after the question keyword. We can show some text after the question by typing it after the question keyword. Now answering the question will show us the text we wrote under it. We can also see that the lines in the code that are currently active are highlighted in the editor. But the question we made is not very useful because we don't know what the user enters. It'd be great if instead of just saying hello after the question, we could greet the user by their name. For this, let's save the user's answer to a variable. If we delete our question and create it again, there's the option to save to variable. This asks us for a variable name. Since we're just asking for the user's name, we can just call it name, and this adds a save keyword under our question keyword. Now answering the question saves the answer to a variable called name, and to use that variable to greet our users, we can refer to it using curly braces. When we answer the question now, we'll be greeted with the name we entered. Let's create another question and ask the user whether they like dogs or cats. The multiple choice type is a great type for this question. We can also add the options in these boxes, and we can see the result here. The options are added below our question, similarly to how the save keyword was added to the previous question. Note that these are indented using the tab character. We can add more options like turtles or birds by going to the next line and pressing tab on the keyboard, or by pressing enter when we're at the end of another answer option, which will automatically move us down to the next line and add the tab. Now, just clicking an answer option will show nothing since there's nothing after this question. We can again add some text at the end like, "Thanks for answering these questions." You might have noticed that whenever you ask a question, you'll need to answer it before moving on to the next lines of code. This is because questions create page breaks. This way we can create multiple pages that the user goes through without seeing the entire program all at once. Another way to add a page break is to add a button that the user needs to click. These can be created using the button tool. All of the tools from the toolbar and many more helpful things like example programs or links to the documentation can also be found in the search bar. Let's get the button tool from there and create a button that says Finish. Now we will need to click the button in order to see the last page. Let's add one last thing to our program. We can actually show different results based on which option the user chooses by indenting them under the answer options. To go back to the beginning of the program, we can click on the Split button again. Now when we go through the program again, clicking on one of the options shows the text we indented under it. And it goes right to the text after the question, since there's nothing there to end the page. We can add any code we want under the answer options. We can even add a follow-up question, like asking for the user's favorite dog breed. When you get more confident with your GuidedTrack skills, you can skip the toolbar and just write the code yourself. You can also add more code under these answer options if you like. There's no limit to this. One thing that you might run into is when you accidentally make a typo, or maybe you've started writing some code but haven't finished it yet. The line will turn red, and it won't be shown in the preview. This is because there's an error in the code, and GuidedTrack doesn't know what to do with it. Hovering your cursor over the little red X icon will show helpful information about what might be wrong in the code. Now that we're done writing our program, let's see how we can get it to other people to use it. There's another mode for previewing your programs that will show you exactly what a user will see when they run your program. You can even see what it might look like on different devices. The Run mode from the top right can be used to actually run your programs. This is what you'll send to other people who will be using your program. In the data page, you can see information about how your program has been used. As you can see, this program has been run twice. One is marked as a test because it was run in the preview mode. The other is marked as data because it was run in the run mode. We entered dogs and corgis in preview mode, and turtles in the run mode. That checks out. You can also download a CSV of all data entered into the program here. In this video, we've learned how to create text, ask questions, use variables, ask multiple choice questions, create pages, show different results based on what the user does, deal with errors, run our program, and see the data our programs generate. But we've barely even scratched the surface of what GuidedTrack is capable of. We've only looked at 3 of the tools from the Basics toolbar, and there are clearly a bunch more. You can explore more for yourself by trying the different tools in the toolbar or looking at some of the templates we looked at before. If you create a program with a simple survey template, some of the parts will already be familiar to you, but you can also see how to add images, how to jump around between different parts of the program with the go-to and label keywords, how to run certain bits of code if certain conditions are met, and so on. In the Contact Me form template, you can see how to put many questions on one page and how to send emails. There are also comments that begin with 2 dashes that will not affect the program, but they're great for explaining what the code does. There's also a GuidedTrack documentation site where you can learn more. If you ever get stuck, there's a Q&A page where you can ask questions and get help. Hopefully this video has helped you get closer to building whatever you have in mind.